Welcome into San Francisco Giants Access. My name is Sterling Bennett, and season's greetings. The Christmas season is here, and we are leaving Thanksgiving, but in the spirit of a season of appreciation, we are going to do the exact opposite today for the San Francisco Giants and their ownership because I don't know about you, but I left last season feeling pretty good about where the Giants are going to go, where they are. It's not perfect. They have some questions. You got to find some pitching, but you love Rafael Devers. That trade during the year, it just made you feel something again. Willy Adames hits 30 home runs. Again, it wasn't a perfect year. They definitely should have made the playoffs, but despite the downfalls, the pitfalls of 2025, 2026 seemingly has a bright future. Yet here we are, December 2nd, questioning what exactly the hell is going on with the San Francisco Giants, right? You bring up your number one prospect, Bryce Eldridge, during the year, and just kind of dip your toe in the waters and just kind of get him some experience in the tail end of September and building towards 2026 and now in 2025's offseason leading into the winter meetings. It feels like this team doesn't know what they're doing. And the ownership group still does not want to spend money. While there have been some questionable decisions thus far, non-tendering Joey Lucchesi, would have loved to bring him back, but you go and sign Sam Hedges, and maybe he's your next left-handed reliever. Love that move. We'll get into that today. But more importantly, we have a gripe. We have a complaint. We have some reasons to not be thankful for the San Francisco Giants, which I hate saying because this is my team. It's your team, I'm sure, as well. But in an offseason where you expect them to at least be a player in the free agency market regarding starting pitching, a lot of the expectations are they're going to buy some mid-tier pieces like Merrill Kelly, Tyler Mahle. They'll be in that group of pitchers. Probably not going to be playing in the high-end pool, but there really aren't many of those guys. You're not going to pay for Dylan Cease, who went to the Blue Jays. You're not going to pay for Framber Valdez. All that makes sense. That's fine with me. However, you are seeing what the Dodgers are doing. They've won back-to-back World Series. They are just sweeping up every Japanese player possible. And the Giants seemingly have a clear-cut target, a path to signing Tatsuya Imai or Imai from Japan. And you're like, great, this guy is on interviews talking about how he doesn't want to play for the Dodgers. He wants to beat the Dodgers. He wants to beat Ohtani, Yamamoto. And you're like, this is a match made in heaven. You're getting your offense back in order. You're making signings. You're making trades. And now you see what at least believes to be a premier arm that can give you 5 to 6 different pitches. He's under the age of 30. He wants a big contract, but you don't mind that because he's been dominating over in Japan. And you're like, this is perfect. This is exactly what San Francisco needs, whereas the Dodgers go get all these Japanese stars, and don't get me wrong, they're stars. But why can't the Giants get one of their own to help match or at least give them something to combat the Dodgers, whether it's fan base or the way they kind of just overwhelm the market out there, and also be a contender in the NL West on top of that? You were nearly a wild card team 2 years ago. You were nearly a wild card team this year. If you get another viable starting pitcher that can be a high-end number 2, with Webb being your ace, you're in a really good spot. And yet, we're here in early December, and that does not seem to be the case. And there's so many questions as to why, and there's so many big, just mind-numbing, I don't know even how to describe how terrible we feel as a fan base, because Andrew Bagley, one of the best in all of Bay Area sports and getting the inside scoop, especially in that Giants ownership group. He just knows what he's talking about. He dropped this and kind of ruined the Thanksgiving holiday and ruined the beginning of the Christmas season. I had the lights up. Me and my wife did the tree, and we're like, oh, this is the best time of the year. And then you're like, oh, shit. What the hell? What the hell, Andrew? Because, and I'll show you on my screen here on YouTube on the audio podcasting platforms, which, by the way, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave us that 5-star audio podcast review. But here you go here, if I can zoom in for you. This is via The Athletic. This is Andrew Bagley discussing San Francisco's plan to sit this one out in regards to Tatsuya Imai of the Japanese leagues. He says this: according to club sources, because of a number of financial considerations, which, quite frankly, can mean, fuck all for all I care. What does that mean? Financial considerations you don't want to spend, you don't feel the need to spend. What is the point? And I'll wait. But here, because of a number of financial considerations, the Giants do not anticipate making the nine-figure investment required to sign Imai or any other top pitchers on the free agent market. Instead, the club is focusing on more modestly priced alternatives. They expect to sign at least one starting pitcher, and they plan to add to their bullpen beyond the $1.4 million agreement in place with left-handed reliever Sam Hentges. Now, I don't hate that statement as a whole. Great. You're going to sign some more bullpen pieces. You're going to add some more depth to your pitching rotation. You're going to be in the modestly priced alternative range again, like Merrill Kelly, Tyler Mahle, guys like that. I don't hate it. However, the Padres are still good. They have their issues, but they're still good. They were better than you last year. The D-backs, although have questions, Corbin Burns back off Tommy John. They have a really good offense, a young core. Ketel Marte, man, that got traded, I don't know, but Corbin Carroll's out there, and the D-backs are always oddly semi-aggressive in free agency. Eduardo Rodriguez and Jordan Montgomery, and I don't know. It just seems like a team that will make a move even if it doesn't make sense. They just want to be in the realm of making moves. Meanwhile, San Francisco's like, we don't want to spend anything. We're going to go buy Merrill Kelly, and that's the number 2, and that's it. I want to curse here, so Mom, turn the show off, but what the fuck was the point of trading for Rafael Devers mid-season on Father's Day and signing Willy Adames and signing Matt Chapman if you weren't going to pair that up with a good starting rotation? Now, I get it, you're at Oracle Park. Maybe you can kind of piece things together. Maybe you like the potential of a Landon Rope and a Hayden Birdsong, but like, those guys right now are not MLB legitimate number 3, 4, 5 starters. They are guys you want to believe in. Right now, you have Webb, Ray, and a whole lot of we don't know and what could be. Now, if you add in someone like Kelly, it makes it better. It makes it more consistent. But in reality, you're just essentially letting Verlander go and plugging him right back in. And maybe you can get some more consistency there throughout the entire season, which could help change your record. But did Buster Posey not see what a great pitching staff can do? And I really don't think this is Buster Posey, mind you. I don't think this is a GM Zach Manasian. This is the ownership group essentially saying, we gave you Adames, we signed off on Chapman, and okay, we can swallow the Devers deal, but we're not gonna pay anybody else. And again, Mom, turn the show off. Why the fuck not? Now, I'm not saying whoever San Francisco signs is not going to make them as good as the Dodgers. They're not going to be that good. But the Dodgers weren't as good last year as they were 2 years ago. They're an aging team that has a lot of great prospects, and they'll make moves. They always do. But it's not as the Dodgers were this unbeatable force. And quite frankly, they were going to lose the World Series had it not been for Miggy Rojas, of all people, hitting a home run in the top of the 9th inning with 2 outs. Or 1 out, whatever it was. Like, the Dodgers were on the precipice of losing the World Series. It's for the taking. And I love buying moderate pitching. I love buying the bullpen. Go get Rogers back. Go get Peter Fairbanks. Go buy some legitimate arms. Emilio Pagan. Give you 4 or 5 guys deep. That certainly makes sense as to what San Francisco did during the 2010 dynasty. You have to have a deep bullpen. You don't know what guy's going to have an off day. You want to have a plethora of pieces, but how dare you sell the fan base on, oh, we got Devers. Oh, we got Willy Adames, Matt Chapman. The infield is set. We like Jung-Hoo Lee a lot. We kind of like Ramos. We don't know, but okay, if you're not going to go buy an outfielder and you're going to bring up Bryce Eldridge, and you feel like the offense can do just enough to get by, you like the prospects of Bailey, who ended the year pretty good offensively, despite having a really rough first, 5 months of the season, If you're not going to buy offense, then you should buy pitching. What is the point of spending big on 3 players, having your number 1 prospect come up in his second season of minor league play to just essentially coast and hope things get better? Now, I'm all for having a few guys, a few spots. Right field to me is an open spot. Let Drew Gilbert fight for it. Bring in a veteran. Let Luis Matos be there and may the best man win. I'm cool with that. I'm cool running back with Jung Hoo Lee and Ramos and adding a 4th guy in the outfield that can maybe give you some more depth in center field if Jung Hoo Lee isn't that good or gets hurt again. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with Bryce Eldridge and signing some more guys. I'm cool with that. You don't have to go all in. But to sit here and tell the fan base, oh, we got the offense. We're going to go buy a superstar first baseman / DH. Going to go buy a perennial all-star caliber shortstop with great defense and 30 home run caliber and a gold glove third baseman who you're going to re-sign to a 5+ year deal and going to get you hopefully 18 to 22 home runs a season and say, nope, that's not the core you want to go all in on? How does that make sense? Now, I get it. You want to be stingy in particular, and you want to make sure you're making the right investments. I get that. Reckless spending is idiotic. It's stupid. I don't buy into the you have to spend because XYZ. However, there are some guys on the market I would certainly be interested in, and Imai is one of them. I get Valdez had the whole cross-up thing last year, and maybe it rubbed Posey the wrong way, and there's questions as to who is he as a locker room guy, clubhouse guy. I get that. Dylan Cease, it's strikeouts and then a bunch of high ERA, and maybe you want to stay away. I get that. But to not see that this guy essentially is telling us from the East, in Japan, I would like to play against Shohei, Yamamoto, and Kim and take down this juggernaut, and then to be like, nah, we're good. That guy seemingly, at least on paper, matches what you want in your clubhouse. He has the potential to be an elite level arm. Now, we all know there is a transition period for Japanese pitchers, and maybe things don't work out. We've seen things go really right. Yamamoto, Masahiro Tanaka, and other guys in that grouping. Then you have other guys that are really bad, and you're like, how the hell did you miss on that? Holy shit. What a disaster. But this one seems like even if he is a number 3 for you, behind Ray, behind Webb, and then you still buy a Molly, or you love Layden Rupp, or maybe you love Carson Whisenhunt and you make a small trade. I don't know. Like, it just begs the question, what the fuck are we doing? So what do you mean you're not going to at least buy at the high end of the market? Again, be particular. But why invest this much in the offense? Why make trades? Why sign Adames if you aren't going to completely buy into what they can offer you? This team is not that far off. Now, they haven't gone to the playoffs in 2 years, but on top of that, you just fired almost your entire coaching staff, let guys walk. You bring in Tony Vitello, who, if you don't go get pitching, you're either believing an impact of Devers, Adames in year 2, and Chapman can help carry the offense the whole year, which, okay, I like those odds. It isn't terrible. But on top of that, you're asking of Vitello in his year 1 as a manager, in which you don't know if that's going to work out, to get the best out of all the young guys, hopefully, fingers crossed, which again is a question. Then also bank on him getting the best out of his pitching staff, in which you just changed pitching coaches. Now, things could work out, and we can sit back here and go, oh, wow, the Giants really made the right decision, and I do trust Buster Posey. He has given me every reason to like what he's done and buy into what he's selling me as a fan. Like, Buster Posey can right now at least do no wrong by me. And I don't want to blame him for because of a number of financial considerations, the Giants do not anticipate making a 9-figure investment required to sign Imai. Okay, then what's the alternative here? Because while we have reports like this from Andrew Baggerly saying, hey, good luck. And a lot of the reasoning is because, well, they're paying Blake Snell still, and, they've asked on medical reports for Ranger Suarez and Max Scherzer and Dylan Cease. It's like, okay, you go get Max Scherzer. Cool. That's essentially just Justin Verlander again, which Verlander was fine. I I don't hate that. It's just like, okay, it's a lateral move. It's not a vertical one. You want to go up, not sideways. You want to go up in the standings, not stay where you're at, right? And hope somebody else falls down. And right now, Bagley on your screen, here says, but sources say the Giants were never prepared to enter the bidding anywhere near what Cease received by the Blue Jays, which was, $210 million for 7 years. So $30 million a year, essentially. I get that. I wouldn't spend that. I wouldn't want to touch that. But you just fired your manager. You're paying Blake Snell still. So I get it. There may be some luxury tax stuff you don't want to get into, but like they're under the luxury tax. Like they have money to spend. It's not as if the Giants, of all teams who made nearly $450 million last year, are hurting for money. This really is an ownership group being like, I don't know. I like being average. I like being like, you hate to say this, but it's as if you fired Farhan Zaidi. You put in a president of baseball operations and a GM who want to be aggressive, who want to make moves. They want to go get Devers and Adames and Chapman. And Posey's like, I want to bring winning back to San Francisco. But you somehow kept Farhan Zaidi as an owner in some like mental capacity of like, if we're just average, it can make our money back and make a profit, we're good. You know how you make more money? Going to the fucking playoffs. That's how you make money. You get bonuses, and if you're good enough and go to the World Series, you can make more money. It's almost as if baseball incentivizes spending money and winning. Now, sometimes you find yourself in a black hole like the Cardinals were for a long time, a lot of big contracts and no winning. Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, Sonny Gray, Contreras, like I get it. You can get yourself in a pickle, but you're entering in the window of the guys you just paid. And you don't have, and I'm sorry, you don't have any top pitching prospects. Nobody stands out. No one's coming up. We already went through what all their first round draft picks have essentially been busts or don't play for the team anymore in the last decade and a half. So who are you banking on making a big play here? You walk into a World Series or a playoff series, let's say against the Dodgers, I don't know, against the Cubs, against Milwaukee with Webb, Ray, and Merrill Kelly as your 3 and Rupp as your 4. That isn't terrible, but you're not scaring anybody. You might win game 1. Maybe you win game 2, but there's no chance Kelly is great. He wasn't even great last year. He was fine. But if you're the Giants, you're playing in one of the toughest divisions in baseball, where if you don't have a legitimate contending rotation, you're not doing anything. You have to play the Dodgers and the Padres and the D-backs, and you have to play in Colorado, which is never easy for a pitching staff. Why would you not want to pay? I mean, you may get lucky in some big bats, leave the NL and go to the AL. I don't know, but then we get a report today or yesterday by Buster Olney, or excuse me, by John Paul Morosi, that says the Giants, and I can find it for you here, that the Giants have expressed interest in Kyle Schwarber. And it's like, huh? So you don't want to go pay for a top-end starting pitching? Okay, fine. I don't love that. I think it's idiotic choice. The last thing you can be is caught in between on a fence. You should be rebuilding or going for it. Those are the only two places in sports. If you're caught in between, that is a dangerous game to play, and it's a game the Giants have been doing for a long time, and I hate it. Ever since 2016, it's been caught between. Be bad, then be good. You should be rebuilding to contend. The Giants kind of tried to, finagle a rebuild, didn't work out very well. The drafting was this dog shit. Kid, now you're paying guys to contend. Do the other half that it takes to contend and buy some pitching. You can find some cheap bullpen arms. I'm for that. You don't have to go spend on Devin Williams, who signed with the Mets, which is crazy. Ryan Helsley, who goes to the Orioles. You don't have to buy big-name guys. Just buy some really competent guys that do things really well. Sam Hentges is a nice piece to have if he can stay healthy. We'll get into that in a second, but then you get into they have poked the bear, or they poked around the idea, expressed interest in Kyle Schwarber. The exact report is the Giants are among teams that have checked in on Kyle Schwarber. Now, checked in on can simply mean, hey, what's your interest? Hey, would you think about coming here? Hey, what's the asking price? That can mean a preliminary discussion. Could mean nothing. That doesn't mean it's an offer's on the table or there is serious interest there, but they are showing something. And, I'm a Niner fan. You can see behind me here on my screen. Like, John Lynch always checks in on people. Why wouldn't you, right? That's what really led the Giants to getting Rafael Devers. They checked in on his availability, and the Red Sox said, okay. And that deal is a great deal for the Giants. But then you see the Schwarber thing, and it's like, okay, so like, what is the plan here? Obviously his power plays, but he's only a DH. He can't play the outfield. He doesn't play first base. And you have Rafael Devers, who he wants to play the field. So if let's just play the what if game, or the magical scenario of the Giants signing Schwarber to what seems like he wants a 4-year, $100 million plus contract. So you won't play the 9-figure game for a pitcher, but you'll play it for a DH that, can hit you 30, 40 home runs a year. That's great. It certainly helps. Schwarber's awesome. I would love to have Schwarber in San Francisco. Who wouldn't want Schwarber in San Francisco? That threat of him hitting second and then Devers behind him or whatever, and your 1, 2, 3 could simply be Ramos against lefties and Jung-Hoo Lee against righties, and then you have Devers hitting second, and you have Adames hitting third, and Schwarber hitting, I don't know. Like, you can do whatever you want. It makes this lineup amazing. But, so you'll pay 9 figures for Schwarber, maybe, but not for a pitcher. Interesting. Why? And it's not just that, because the other part of this episode title is the Giants refuse to sign big name starting free agents, plus trading Bryce Eldridge. Now, maybe the idea is we want to give Bryce Eldridge more time, but if you sign Devers or you trade for him and he has 8 more years of roster control and you have Schwarber for 4 more years, are you going to move Eldridge to the outfield and trade Ramos away and risk losing defense, which Ramos's defense isn't great either, but the point still stands. You're not getting a good defensive outfielder, no matter who you're playing out there. Which, okay, fine. Brandon Belt played left field at times. Eldridge seemingly has a little bit more versatility than he does, but you didn't love that in 2010 and 2011 and 2012 at times. But I don't love it now, knowing how big and spacious Oracle Park is, and your center fielder really isn't a hovering, roaming, amazing defensive center fielder either in Jung-Hoo Lee. So it's like you're kind of downgrading in 2 spots, not 1 spot, and you don't even know who's actually playing right field for you. That's weird. And so do you entertain trading Bryce Eldridge for a starting pitcher? Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't mind trading prospects because you just don't know, right? It's like in the NFL, right? You don't mind trading draft picks. They have to be smart, of course. I'm not saying just do it because you can or because you want to, but do you trade Bryce Eldridge for a starting pitcher? And I think there's guys out there and teams that would love Bryce Eldridge. Who wouldn't? He's slugging first baseman under the age of, 23 years old, left-handed hitter. My mind immediately goes to the Twins. Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, 2 guys that have been rumored to get traded for the last 2 seasons. Ryan was almost traded to the Red Sox this year, and things didn't come together. You give me Webb and Ryan, and then you have Schwarber. Like, you can see how that makes sense, but it's like, I'd almost rather you go, and maybe that would make them an instant contender, and that's the way they're going to go with things. But it's like, this fan base has never been as excited, maybe since 2010 when Posey came up and the Giants had a great pitching staff and it looked like they can contend for at least a playoff spot in the division. And maybe there is some aspect of like, well, if we trade Eldridge for a starting pitcher and maybe somebody else in our prospect pool for a Joe Ryan, for a Pablo Lopez, for a Sandy Alcantara, maybe we can get the number 2 ace in there and it all works out, and fans can kind of like shut up and just watch things progress. But we all know this is a business, and winning really matters. And while you'd probably win more games if you signed Schwarber and you signed Alcantara or traded for Lopez and Ryan and those guys, and quite frankly, I don't hate the idea of that. It just doesn't seem to make sense because on one hand, what you're selling the fan base, or at least what Bagley's reporting, is that you don't want to buy big name pitchers or spend money on big money on pitchers, but you want to spend more money on bats potentially than trade away your number one prospect who has some swing and miss. He's young, but he was already up. The expectation for me is he'll be on the opening day roster in 2026. At least playing DH, center field, or not center field, first base. Don't put Bryce Eldridge in center field, please, for the love of God, don't do that. But the expectation is he'll be on the roster, on opening day. That is my belief, or at least that's what should happen, unless something changes and there's a hole in his swing. And I get you want to give guys time to grow and progress and whatnot, and they've been pretty cautious with him. Posey didn't even think they'd bring him up last year. And they did because they were kind of out of things and said, hey, let's get a spark and let's see if maybe there's some magic in the bat. And there's some really good hits and some, not some great at bats, but it just feels like they're selling us on two things. Because on one hand, you can't say we're buying offense, we're trading for all these stars, and we're going to make a push, and then not sign pitching, not acquire one of the top end guys. But also, we have interest or have at least kind of poked around the idea of signing Kyle Schwarber. Well, if you do that, you have to trade Bryce Eldridge. Unless he's playing left field for you, which doesn't seem likely. The Giants seemingly like the idea of having the versatility with Devers and Eldridge to play first base and DH and move guys around and whatnot. And, again, right now in the immediate, which is really what the Giants should be playing for, knowing you have the courts, it really isn't the fact of don't trade Eldridge. It isn't the fact of don't sign Kyle Schwarber. It's the fact that decide what you're doing and go all in either way. Either be all in on Eldridge and Devers as the first base DH combo and then go sign pitching, or trade Eldridge for starting pitching, go sign Schwarber, and then let's have this bomb squad of an offense where three guys can hit 30-plus home runs a year for you. You have a great third baseman, and your two through six guys are all locked in, and then it kind of makes the mistakes of Ramos and Lee in the outfield less of an impact. I think I speak for a lot of fans of just pick one lane and go with it. And I know it's early, so, maybe it's all for naught, but it's you don't fire your coaching staff, get a new manager, then sit pat. You don't do that. You fired Melvin because you didn't want to stand pat. You fired him because you wanted to have a better outcome than last season. And so maybe that is trading Eldridge and getting Schwarber or somebody else in that realm. But it's okay, $100 million, I know, is a lot of money for us normal folk, but for baseball, it's nothing. $30 million a year, $20 million a year? If Schwarber wants $25 million a season, which I believe is the asking price right now, and you wouldn't pay 30 for Cease, that's fine. It's a $5 million difference over 4 years, so $20 million you don't want to spend. It's and that's fine, but you better spend something. You can't spend nothing. In a real perfect world, trading Eldridge is not even a bad thing if it nets you starting pitching back. And I think that is, kind of the question I have is, while the Giants are kind of just talking out of both ends of their mouth, if you trade Bryce Eldridge away and you sign Kyle Schwarber and it's okay, great, we're in a good spot, we're contending, and you get technically 3 years of Joe Ryan with 2 years of arbitration left, I'm sorry for you fans who love Eldridge. I would trade Bryce Eldridge for Joe Ryan and go sign Schwarber tonight. Why wouldn't you do that? So there's a lot of questions. Now, I have some disagreements simply because the Giants seem like they're trying to toe that fence line again. And as a team that has this offense with 3 guys that can swing it pretty well, and you fire the coaching staff, you let guys leave to bring in new guys and hopefully spark something with the young guys and get something more out of the team, I'm cool relying on young dudes as long as you surround them with some dogs. The Giants have 3 dogs right now, and Webb is a 4th one. And if you can pay cheap for the bullpen and kind of piece things together and get you one guy back there, Randy may or may not come back. I don't know. You like Brian Walker, you like Buteau, and you like some pieces there, but bring back Rogers, go get Pagan, go get other guys that are cheaper and small dudes and make the bullpen as a whole worth $20, $30 million. And cool, that's great. That's set. That's good to go. You have 3 guys that can close for you. You got some lefties in there, and great. But if you go sign Schwarber and trade Eldridge for Ryan or Lopez, it's like, damn, the Giants are here to, they're good to go. Like, and you may be sitting at home like, Sterling, what the hell, dude? Trading Bryce Eldridge? And quite frankly, I didn't even think of the idea. I didn't even love the idea until I saw San Francisco at least made a call about Kyle Schwarber. Now, again, what is that call? I don't know. I truly don't know. We don't know. That could just be, hey, Kyle, you like San Francisco? He can be like, fuck no. You're like, all right, cool, whatever. But he could be like, yeah, well, let's have a conversation. And I think Posey has the swing and the sway to bring guys in and kind of make them feel comfortable and buy into what he's selling. And, if you buy a DH, Eldridge almost has to go. Unless you want to just hoard all your things and not spend on money. But it's like, you can't buy Schwarber and then not buy pitching. You can't buy pitching and then trade Eldridge. Like, you really have to pick a lane. And I think no matter how you go about it, whether it is keeping guys, trading guys, signing guys, whatever, you got to pick one. Either contend, go all in, or do the exact same thing you've been doing, which is 1 foot in, 1 foot out, try what we can, change a manager here or there, change a pitching coach, get a new hitting coach, change the president of baseball operations, where it's like, I'm sorry, like you can think of what you want, but like you're not really supplying your new rookie manager who's never coached a game in baseball at the MLB level. You got to supply him with some depth, some, like, there are going to be games where maybe Vitello's a reason they lose. He's going to make mistakes. That's what comes with the territory of having a first-time MLB manager. And you hope they can grow as the year goes on and make the right moves. But to almost kind of offset a rookie manager's, baby steps into the MLB level of coaching and managing, you want to surround him with a really good roster. And then once he kind of becomes his own guy and, makes his way as a manager in the MLB, then you're like, damn, like them Giants are scary. And it's like right now San Francisco has so many unknowns, and it's a lot of unknowns that could be really great and I think have really high potential. Vitello, Eldridge, other guys there. Like, I still believe in Ramos and Matos and Gilbert. And I think that Damas and Devers and Chapman give them so much offensively that, that is a really nice core. But it's like you're either hoping Eldridge adds to that and gives you more pop, which I think he could be a great 3 to 6 hitter in your lineup, and that'd be awesome. But if you want to go spend and have a guy hit 220, 230 like Schwarber and trade Eldridge for a pitcher, like, I'm in. Just pick a lane. Pick a lane. And I'm really getting tired of the Giants just feeling like they don't know or don't really have a plan. It's like, oh yeah, spend money here and hope things work out. And I'm tired of kind of resting on hope. Go in, have a plan. Like, you do anything in life, really. Like, you want to have direction. Whether you're driving your car, me and my wife just went from Southern California to Northern California for the holidays. Like, yeah, I can have an idea as to where I'm going to get back home to the Bay Area, but it's also like, I like having the GPS to help me out. My wife, she started a new job last year. Like, you talk to your bosses and say, hey, I'm new here, and can you give me some direction, some pointers, some fingers, and like lead me to where I need to be going. And as a baseball team, as a fan base especially, you're like, I don't know what the Giants are doing, and that isn't where you want to be. Like, ask Tiger fans. Tiger fans, like, they're in their window. They have Scooble, they have Riley Green, like they have a young core that they should be doing all it takes to go all in on. And yet you're hearing talks of they may trade Tarek Skubal and they may trade other guys and they don't know. Why? 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 When you have a window, you want to capitalize on it. Now, sometimes windows can be mirages, and maybe it's smart to pump the brakes. But the last thing you want to be is perennially average. And San Francisco, right now, from 2016 to now, has been perennially average. I'm tired of that. It's the old meme. I'm tired of digging, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad. Don't be the grandpa, Giants. Tell the kids, the fan base, your team, we're going to stop digging and start filling in the hole with either high-end pitchers, some money to help your bullpen, or go buy a bat again and trade some prospects for guys that you believe can help you. I would love Joe Ryan. I would love Sandy Alcantara, albeit Joe Ryan's better than him with more control. I do that tomorrow. Do that today. Do it right now. Just don't get caught playing the in-between game. You are never good at riding a fence. Your feet hurt, and if you lay down, your ass is going to hurt too. Pick a side. Either jump into the rebuild tool, which signing the guys you did clearly indicates you don't want to do that, or take your money and say, fuck it, we're going all in. That's what you got to do if you are the Giants. I'm not saying spend on, all these small dudes and, go out there and overpay for guys. I wouldn't go buy Bo Bichette. I wouldn't. There are guys I wouldn't spend. I would not pay for Dylan Cease or Valdez. But if you want to go sign a bat and then go trade Eldridge away. Like, I'd rather sign a bat than trade your prospect who you don't know what he'll be. And I hate saying that. Again, the Eldridge fans out there are like, Sterling, you're crazy. Eldridge may suck. He may suck. That's a high possibility. He may suck. Also, he could be really good. There's a high chance he sucks. There's a high chance he's really good. But your window's now. And if the Giants believe he can propel their window open further and be a long-term solution, whether at first base, DH, or maybe in left field, who knows, awesome. Then go buy pitching. But if you don't believe that, and you're like, oh, yeah, there's too much swing and miss in that bat, I'll take a guy who's in his mid-30s that can hit me 40 home runs a year and help me now. And really the other aspect to this is, are the Giants hesitant because a lockout may be coming? I'd be buying now pre-lockout. You don't know what that agreement's going to be. At least you know now what you're getting yourself into. Maybe somebody out there is saying, well, Sterling, there could be a salary cap ceiling and a salary cap floor, and it changes things. And I'm like, yeah, who fucking cares? God forbid a millionaire spends $5 more million on somebody and it gets to rake in $500 million a year. The Giants raked in $548, $500 or $450 million last year of revenue. I'm sorry, I don't give a shit about, got to save some money. No, you don't. You can make more money by spending money. That's the market. Anybody would tell you, to make money, you got to spend some money. You might be in a hole early, but once the market swings back around, you may make some value back. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the fan in me, and maybe I'm not sounding logical and irrational, and I get that. And, I just don't want the Giants to be perennially average anymore. Not a fan of it. I want to be glued to my seat, glued to my couch, glued to my TV every single at bat, every single pitch. And I'm tired of, wow, once every fifth day, I'm ready to rock. Oh, wow, I can turn off the other 4 at bats. And I don't do that. I'm just using that as an example of some days just aren't worth watching. Some days I'm like, every team goes through the ebbs and flows. But I was locked into my TV from 2009, 2008, all the way until 2016, 2018. Because I knew they had a direction. 2008, 2009, rebuilding. 2010, Posey's up. The pitching staff is damn good. And you bought some nice veteran pieces to help you win. And they were a surprise team, of course. It was a band of myth. But it's like, you get the direction. 2012, same thing. Like, damn. They got a pitching staff. Fuck, that bullpen's good. The offense has timely hitting and contact, and they have an MVP playing catcher. Damn. They had a direction. You don't drive with no steering wheel. I don't. You don't. Even a bike has a freaking handlebars to steer you in the right. Like, the Giants need to grab the fucking handlebars and figure out where they want to go. It's early. I've been cursing a lot. I'm sorry. Cover earmuffs, kids. Earmuffs. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of the Giants are serviceable. The Giants are, it's like, no, find a place to go. Now, that said, to end today's show, I do want to discuss the signing of left-handed reliever Sam Hentges. I love this signing. I think it's a really good signing for the San Francisco Giants. Now, there certainly are some drawbacks. He had some shoulder injuries. In 2024, had a knee injury this past year, and he had some surgeries, and he's hasn't really played the much last year and a half. But when he's healthy, he's a good player. He transitioned into a full-time reliever in 2022. He has a 2.93 ERA, a 3.22 xERA, with a 27.7 K rate and a 58.1% ground ball rate in over 138 innings. Like, you love those numbers. You buy into those numbers. He's been really good against lefties and righties almost his whole career. Obviously better against lefties, which is pretty nice. Most of his damage is done against right-handers because they hit him better, obviously being a pitcher from the left-hand side. But against lefties, a 5.59 OPS. Against righties, a 6.14, clearly an advantage for him against lefties. As a whole through 4 seasons, a 4.1 ERA, but again, as a reliever at 138 appearances, a 2.93 ERA. Like, got to get healthy. For sure, but it's like, man, like, that's a nice, underrated signing, which you want to see your team doing. It's a signing that you buy into and say that plays at Oracle Park and that plays with the infield defense. So good signing there, but it's like, keep it going. And look, we're young into the offseason. There's so much to go, and maybe my rant was rather unnecessary this early pre-winter meetings, but I just want to see San Francisco be good again, and I'm willing to take big swings to do it, whether it is big daddy hacks at the plate with Schwarber and Devers and Adames and Chapman, or trading away some of your top prospects to go get some guys, which if you look around, most teams' top prospects don't really pan out. I can't think of one that's really stuck out, especially in San Francisco. So it's like, if you have that fear of this may not work out, trade them away while you can. You don't have the Dodgers luxury. And if you believe in Kylan and some of the guys behind him you got there recently to be kind of the next crop of guys, and okay, go forward with that and erase Eldridge from the equation. But do what it takes. Do whatever it takes. That should be the motto for the Giants this year. Not game up. No, do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. That's what this front office needs to do. It's what Posey, Emanation, and Greg Johnson and the ownership group must do. You are winning the fans over. Don't pump the brakes now. Don't move sideways. Keep climbing. Keep climbing. Stagnation is the biggest problem for sports teams now. They have a core, but the owners are like, I don't know. Take the Orioles, for example. The Orioles don't want to go all in. I don't know. I don't know. You have a good core of like 35 prospects you believe in. Buy. Why not the Tigers? Same thing. And I get it. Like, the Giants have luxuries. Some other teams like Detroit, like Milwaukee, like the Pirates, and other teams that maybe have 1 or 2 young guys, with schemes, like, oh, you got to go all in on that guy. The Giants have West Coast money. They're raking in $450 million in profit. Go all in. Don't have one foot in, one foot out. Nobody likes dipping your toes in the pool. Either you swim or you get out and stay dry. And if you are going to get out and stay dry, then why'd you buy Devers? Why'd you buy Adames? Dive into that pool, drench your head, and let's get crazy. Let's do that. That said, Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the last 45 minutes of my epic rant in regards to San Francisco not signing a big name and maybe trading away Bryce Eldridge. Should they do that? Should they not? Am I nuts? Drop your comments down below. What do you think San Francisco should do this offseason? What moves do you want them to make? Are you saying go spend big on Tatsuya Imai? Are you saying trade Eldridge, sign Schwarber, do whatever it takes? That's what I'm saying they should do. I want winners. To quote Mike Singletary, the middling Niners old head coach, I want winners. You can breed them. You can also sign them and acquire them via trade. So do whatever it takes. But that said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Leave us that 5-star audio podcast review. And as always, my name is Sterling Bennett. And that's all I got for you today. So get out of here.